Well, welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave. A little bit of a faceless Friday, but hey, I hope you're having the best Friday possible. Wishing you the best, the happiest, as we always say. And of course, with Friday, we actually have plenty to talk about because Bitcoin is really hinting at a couple big moves here, staring us right in the face, and I do believe that we're going to be seeing a pretty massive move, likely within the next, I'd say, 24 to 36 hours, day and a half, 2 days, whatever it ends up being, somewhere within that time frame does seem about right. And I do apologize for the less than optimal audio quality today. Trying out a new mic. Well, it's not going to be my main driver, but of course better than the underwater potato mic that I had before. So I do apologize for the not so optimal quality. But without further ado, let's get into the live stream right here, right now. Let's initiate that teleportation and see what's going on. The good old King Krown, and there he is in all of his glory. Started off here with a. Let's actually go to a daily for a second. So daily, we have both open and closed our second daily doodle below this yellow 20-minute exponential moving average. This is starting to look a little bit more weak, but there's a couple of very obvious trades staring us right in the face. There is obviously the one that's a little bit more readily apparent, which is pressure to the downside, or if we can actually move back up towards this 7900-ish pivot, then yes, I do believe that we'll have another $200 move up to about 8100-ish area. But of course, I'm not necessarily looking forward to that. Overall, I do want to be agnostic in this range. While the 200 simple and 200 exponential moving average on the 4-hour doodle time frame have been extremely staunch, going all the way back to all the way back on over here to middle of February, where Bitcoin regained them. You can see them. If I actually zoom in right over here, again, computer also not optimal as well. So I'm scrolling with a little trackpad, very annoying. But we do see the white 200 simple and the purple 200 exponential moving average being regained in middle of February of this current year. And ever since then, have not broken below there. So Bitcoin's actually come back down and tested it for the first time in quite some time on this white 200 simple and 200 exponential moving average. You can see that has been defended so far, but are we seeing accumulation at this level? Is this a good sign? Well, is it good enough for a little bit of a move up? I mean, it could certainly produce that, and I'd say that becomes a tradable event the second that we actually start taking out, this area right over here at about 79.20, 79.30. I'd say is extremely likely that we'd start to work our way up into the 81 to 80. 200-ish range, but remember that nothing really changes around from the medium to higher time frame picture as long as we're below that pivot. So that's very important, that as long as we're below that pivot, it is still questionable from the higher time frames as to whether more upside or not. But I would say that if Bitcoin can make itself back above and close at least like a 2-hour or 4-hour doodle above this 8200-ish level right over here, represented by the blue box territory, then yes, I do believe that we would see a move much higher actually to fill out the top side of the range, and this would start to look like bullish reaccumulation. But remember, as far as calling a spade, I'm not really looking for that to happen. But hey, if that did happen, that's what I'd be thinking, and I would be looking for long trades off that. I mean, of course, 7900 to about 8100, maybe even 8200. That's a $200, $300 trade. Certainly worth it. 4 to 5%. That's fucking Bitcoin, just Bitcoin's loveliness for you all. But again, just like to the upside, I wouldn't really be taking trades right here. I wouldn't be taking trades to the downside right here just yet, as well. I was extremely adamant in saying this last night that I would not be looking for directional trades to the downside until Bitcoin actually breaks the white 200 simple or 200 exponential, the purple moving average right there, fully on a 4-hour doodle close. If we can do that, that is a clear sign of a change of behavior. We will have seen it populated in the higher, in the medium time frames, and that would be something that we haven't done since, again, February of this year. So it's been about 4 or 5 months now as a year just keeps on seeming to just go on faster and faster, which is quite scary. But my point is that hey, there is a nice about the same size trade to the downside, about $300 to $400, maybe a little bit more, down to about 7200 to 7100 at that point. And I do believe we would have a very strong bounce in this region, as denoted by this just a magical line right here that just bounces up. No, there's a lot of technicals converging around this area, around the 7200 area, which we'll go over in just a second. I do believe that we'd see a major bounce around there. And then after that, we'll kind of reassess. We'll see how the bounce is. It needs to be seen first. We need to judge, the volume, the volatility. We need to judge the overall strength of it, and from there we can come up with, okay, is this another bounce to be sold into, and we work our way down into the lower 6,000s, or does this become our new local low, and we work our way from 7,000, about 77,000 to 10,000 from there. So again, that's essentially what's on the horizon right now. But I do believe that we get this next trade probably within this next day. in day and a half, I think is quite likely. And looking at all of our oscillators here, we actually do see 4-hour Stokes never even crossing down with yesterday's kind of turmoil, testing that 200 simple and 200 exponential. So does Bitcoin, the real question is, does Bitcoin even have the momentum to break it right now? And I'd say, I mean, this is kind of putting a nice little base here, but by the same token, we are still just creating lower highs. So I would say, you know, it does start to change around from the lower time frames again, to be adamantly clear, above about 7,900. 79.30 if you want to be like super exact, and then yes, I would be looking for that move about $200 higher, maybe even $300 higher into this blue box territory, and then and then pressure once again. I would only turn bullish from the medium to higher time frames if we can actually retake this area 8250-ish on a 4-hour total close, and then yes, I do believe that Bitcoin would make its way much higher, and this would start to look like bullish reaccumulation, and this would change the whole picture. But for right now, I'm pretty much flat. I don't really have any sort of reason to put on positions. I'm a little bit busy with like real life stuff right now, which completely made me forget to talk about. But anyways, going over here into my streamer account. Just for full disclosure, basically flat. I basically went cash just around 7,800. I don't have any intention to trade this right now. Like I said, I have to deal with like residence permit stuff. So it's all fun and good, but at the same time, I do have to focus on that right now. As far as my options positions, still just letting this one roll. Very happy with it. As you can see, top left P&L, and that will just only go up. Well, not only go up, but very easy, very easy to cover. So overall, I did forget to talk about all of the programs which are on sale for, well, I guess today, till the end of the day, with the code 20K. If I could actually bring that up, I wonder if it's on this computer. Let's see. Let's see what pops up here. Hey, yeah, it did work. Nice. All right, so the code 20K for 20% off of any payment plan, which go up. I think they can go up all the way to like 8 or even 10 months for the technical analysis program. I want to remind you that all my content is. Or all this paid content you can find in the description of this video, but more importantly, it is typically designed for people who want to do this in more serious manners. So it's not going to be applicable to most people, because most people, you probably have like an outside life, or or like a regular job, stuff like that. Which would this be a good fit? Probably not, because you're going to need a lot of time. They're 35 hours plus long for the technical analysis program and the options program. The Joule indicator is obviously just access to indicators, of course, so a little bit different, but a little bit more instant gratification, if I do say so. But overall, I'll let you self-select into that. Definitely read the reviews, and like I always say, make sure that you understand the free content first before moving on, because Elsa seems like she's hurt herself over there. Definitely make sure that you've taken, you've understood the free content first, especially the playlist Technical Analysis 101, as that's going to go into, probably what most people want to do. Like I said, most people, a 35-hour plus long program, which is probably designed really to be viewed multiple times over the course of many years, is just not really reasonable. Anyway, so with that said, I just want to make sure that people who are interested in it do know that, and do have access to that code. And let's get back on to the good old technical analysis. So yeah, right now I don't really have any intention to have positions. If I had to have a position right here, I would still not even have a position in this area right here. I'd only be playing options. I do think that spreads are viable within this region, but until Bitcoin breaks this area down to the downside, I don't think that there's a downside trade. At least you're going to be waiting. So the opportunity cost of being in a trade like this is just not good. And same thing to the upside, although there are a few things pointing up right now, to be fair. Let's go over here to the hourly. Hourly seems to regain itself a little bit, although we do see hourly Stokes getting a little bit up there. Not getting too much from this chart. Do we have any sort of divergences to be aware of down here? Perhaps a little bit of bearish divergence on the hourly, but that's has that already played out? Probably already played out. I don't put too much weight on something like that, to be quite honest with you. And I fucking hate that I say that all the time. To be quite honest with you, like, of course I'm always going to be honest with you. Jesus Christ, man, just implies the wrong things. Let's go over here to the 6 hour. This time frame has actually been working okay, and we actually did put in a nice dildo on the 6 hour, and the 6 hour actually looks like it wants a little bit up to me. So if I had to be looking at the lower time frames, to me it actually does look like we want to test a little bit upwards, a little bit north. We do see 6 hour Stokes still slowly chugging their way along, weak, but okay. Let's go over here to the 10 hour. 10 hours, same 10 hours, same thing. Actually had a decent close as well, and we see 10 hour stokes pointing back up, but 10 hour haven't been that good. It's a 12 hour that have been pretty damn good. It's a 12 hour, the 4 hour, and the hourly have all been pretty damn good for the last 2 to 3 months. Sorry, maybe even 3 to 4 months, getting price action very well. And looking at the 12 hour right over here, you do see those 12 hour stokes wanting to cross the upside. Technically not confirmed as of right now. But more importantly, we also do see 12-hour Joule getting into the more critical zone, which, well, it's actually not even in the critical zone right now, to be fair, but you do see a little bit of a curl. So overall, you know, I just don't want to get too damn bearish before it's appropriate too. If you're trading the lower time frames, you know, like hourly and below, maybe you see the hourly, and and you're looking for a trade back down to about 7,700. That's a $100 trade, which you know is all well and good. It's fair. You know, and it works, and you can make money that way, absolutely. But I would be keeping my account balance ready for the next like obvious trade, right? This one right here, a little bit less obvious. I mean, you know, you can make the case both ways, right? We see our momentum also is kind of switching around, but we also do see, I mean, just lower highs, you know, along the way, which is, well, typically never a good thing. So I would kind of be sitting back and waiting for this area to resolve itself, and then just take the easy trade, and that's going to open up a lot more possibilities. Anyways, going back on over into the daily, got to look at what we had on over here. We do see the daily historical volatility percentile is still extremely high, and in my experience, this is where markets put in their highs and lows. So overall, while I do think it's possible that Bitcoin could have a little bit of an upwards move to liquidate some more shorts in lower time frames, I would still be very cognizant of this as just an overall market potential top, or not like a market cycle top, of course not, but like a market phase top, we could call it, as Bitcoin's been straight up parabolic for the past 3 months. I mean, going back all the way over here, this has been pretty much straight up since the last week of January. As you can see, we haven't even taken out the wick of a lower weekly dildo for months, and except for now, actually, of course, we did put in a nice doji dildo right over here, and then we had fall through to the down. So these are two changes of behavior that we see on a higher time frame. Not only that, but going over here to our weekly oscillators, we do see weekly stokes actually crossing down for the first time again since early February over here, and these have been pretty damn good at getting the overall feeling of what's going on, and you do see that they are going to be crossing down for basically the first time in a very long time. And this has been a great caller of tops in the past, going all the way back to 2017 top right over here, this top right over here in middle of 2017, and of course this top right over here, as I do see on the screen. Although I know it's not this, I know it's not so clearly visible on the interface right now. But overall, my point is that we do have a little bit of a change of behavior. We do have oscillators starting to switch around. So at the very least, I would be looking, from a higher time frame perspective, I would still be looking for an overall pullback. It's a lower time frames where we can say, hey, yeah, is there maybe a little bit of a trade to the upside here? Yeah, possibly, absolutely. If you're trading for a few $100, maybe to 8,200, something like that, then we can reassess. But higher time frames are looking quite clear to me, and they do look like this is the time that we want to kind of initiate a pullback. And like I said, first target's going to be somewhere between about 7,100 to 7,200. The reason why that is the reason why that is relevant was, first things first, we do see the 3-day 200 simple moving average coming in right around here, which is this white moving average, which historically speaking has been extremely important for Bitcoin. You do see it going all the way back on over here to 2014, 2015, where it lost it bad, got into basically got into capitulation mode, regained it over here, good, and even retested it after regaining it once, and then for the next like 2 to 3 years, just straight up. Well, same thing right over here. We lose it in 2018, very bad. We've regained it in 2019, so far pretty damn good. But keep in mind, we also do have we do see 3-day stokes coming down as well, and the second that these guys actually confirm themselves below this critical zone, I would be I would be looking for a similar reaction to what we've seen, over the past 5 years. When these guys come down, they want to come down a lot more from that critical zone. We also do see that the 3-day jewel has confirmed below the pink. This is not like a perfect sell signal. It's a decent, it's okay, but it's not like super perfect. I do think that it implies we have a little bit of downside here, but I would not expect the same 30 to 40% retracement that it would have implied if we got much higher, as we've seen in the past. But we didn't see the light blue get that high this time. We saw it get into about an 82, 83 read, and before, we saw it get all the way into like an 88 to 90ish read. So this is, I would say unlikely to be that same like 30 to 40% retracement I've seen in the past. More likely to be probably, I don't know, somewhere between 10 to 20% if I had to guess. But the best thing to do is just fucking watch. Anyways, we do see the 2-day 20-minute exponential moving average coming around this area as well, although you can already kind of count that as a test in a way. This time frame also giving us bearish divergence along the way on the RSI, as you can see right over here. And also important, we do see 2-day Stokes breaking their formation and confirming below this trend line that we've been writing up since mid-March. So again, just another thing saying, hey, be cautious in this area. If we do get a little bit of a move up, I'd be protective during these moves. Like I said, I don't really have any intention to trade this right now. If I were looking for trades, I'd want to see that 200 simple on the 4-hour broken before I take a trade that I think is likely it's likely going to end up to something like decent. And by the same token, above 79.30, you probably do have a nice $200, $300 trade there too. Maybe even a little bit higher too. Now I'm just saying everything. It's just like, that's bullshit. No, of course, understand the key critical points that those work off of, because right here, this would be a no trade zone in my opinion, or at least for me. Of course, everyone's different, right? But for me, no trade zone in this region right here. I would take trades above there, and I do like that. $200, $300, and same thing to the downside. In fact, on the downside, you could make the decision if we do close an hourly doodle below 7,600 again, or 4-hour more accurately below the 200 simple, which is about 7,600 as well. So whichever one happens first is the one that I'd be going with, and of course with an overall awareness that higher timeframes are looking toppy. Doesn't mean that the lower timeframes can't rally up into that, but it just tells me that I'd be looking to be a seller of that rally most likely. Going over into what else do we want to look at? Yeah, let's go back to the weekly for a second. And again, just another thing saying, hey, cautious. Is the weekly jewel. This is not a sell signal at all, but we are starting to flash red. This thing can stay red for quite some time, as you've seen in the past, but just another thing saying, hey, caution. Not only that, but if we bring up the good old Bollinger Bands right over here, not only do we have a nice doji doodle kind of stopping us at our current top, but it seems to me like we have been rejected from our top Bollinger Band as well for the first time in months as well, which when you're trending extremely strong, you expect them to push the outside, just like you saw over here to the upside in 2017 from 8,000 to 20,000, just like you saw over here to the downside from 6,000 to 3,000, and then once again here to the upside. But we have lost the upside, or sorry, we've lost the top band and we've been rejected from it, taking out the low of a prior, and probably do want to continue a little bit more sometime over the next couple weeks, I'd imagine. Again, likely next area of interest is going to be about 7,100 to 7,200, and like I said, I would be looking for a bounce there, but if that area does fail, we're going to start to talk about targets in the 5,800 region to 6,100-ish region, which, again, just structural support going off of our higher time frames, all these moving averages converging around this region, and also your 2018 lows. Nothing more crazy than that. And of course, if we throw on the volume profile as well, you will see a lot of activity being garnered within this region. So it would be an area of hot contention most likely. But that would also imply some more downside. But of course, it's too premature to really talk about that. Of course, from the higher time frame perspective, it's still every time frame is still technically in an uptrend. I mean, like all of the higher time frames, like daily, 2-day, 3-day, monthly in the newest one. Well, technically, we need to set in a higher low as well, which perhaps we might be in the process of doing. But you do see that the monthly has created its first higher high in well over a year. So very impressive. And overall, that does tell me that I will be looking to be a buyer of this dip. So I will be bringing some of my main account back in around 7,200. Now, does that end up being the best price? I think there is a good chance that we do get down into the lower 6,000s, upper 5,000s, where I'd like to bring in a lot more. But hey, again, you got to trade your edge, right? Anyways, looking at the monthly right here, we do see monthly oscillators pointing back up. We do see monthly Stokes pointing back up and erect. This is how they bottomed out in 2015, by the way. Getting the bullish momentum actually perfectly right over here in September, October. Not only that, but we also do see the lovely RSI regaining the exponential over here. A lot of the time we will come back down and retest this exponential, which is also going to likely be a major buying opportunity as well. In this one, accurately calling the bullish momentum as well in about October of 2015. So, things are lining up. But it's for the longer term time frames, so that does tell me that I do want to be creating some long-term longs. But first things first, have to let Bitcoin resolve itself. Anyways, with all that said, let's go on and check out what CMEs are doing. They're going to be closing tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So they're going to be the next big ones. And in fact, CMEs are kind of interesting right here. CMEs actually look a little bit like they want to take a leg up towards 8,200-ish area. Some of these lower time frames actually do look okay. Then again, still just lower highs on the lower time frames, to be fair. Yeah, again, I wouldn't be front-running decisions here. This is not the time to be putting money at risk. By the way, just another thing, kind of aligning at that 7,200-ish region, the gap from CMEs on 17th of May, and also the 200 exponential moving average on the on the 4-hour, all which have had pretty damn good implications or damn good past performances. Okay, let's go check out the other top shitcoins. How are they doing? How are these babies doing? Mr. Buterol 247 looks largely like Mr. Bitcoin. Same thing over here. Magic numbers for like what do we want to call it? Short-term upside, I suppose, would be 250.5, well, maybe 251 if you want to be a little more conservative. Then I would be looking for a move up to about 258, maybe 260 in this region. If that were to happen, I would get bearish, however, if we do close a 2-hour diddle below 237. Below 237, this thing can really come down pretty damn hard. But for right now, you could make the argument that this is maybe getting reaccumulated. I wouldn't be so damning just yet. But if it does break that 237-ish region, then yes, I would be looking back towards 213. Let's see, what does daily look like for a second? Daily worked its way up. Yeah, it's still difficult. I wouldn't get aggressive here either. It's gonna follow whatever Bitcoin does, right? Let's go on Mrs. Litecoin. What's she doing? Mrs. Litecoin, very good, very good actually. You know what? Looking at Mrs. Litecoin wants to run it back to 115, 116. You know what? Is this the time to be getting bearish right here? Litecoin had a phenomenal close yesterday. Phenomenal close. You know what? If Litecoin's gonna lead, this is the next move will be up. The next move will be up, and we will see actually above 82.50. Probably see it towards 85. Litecoin looks like she wants to go up 115 and a quarter. I would say that she's bullish. Let's go over here, check out the other top shitcoins. We got Cardano versus Satoshi. Again, very ugly, but overall I do think that is put in a low. I think it just came back down and touched my lower support actually almost perfectly. We got 1031 tick. I was saying 1020. Close enough is close enough, and like I said, while it does look sloppy, I do think that is put in a low, and I do think that we work our way towards 1230 to 1300 a share. Sorry, 1250 to 1300 share. Relative, over the next few weeks, most likely, something like that. We're likely putting in a low here, is what I'm trying to say. Just looking at structure. If I can take this off, there we go. Yeah, to me that was a pretty damn good response last week, and I do think that it's actually getting accumulated here. Let's go check out BNB on daily. Did he have a good reaction? Not as good. BNB, again, another very simple chart to read, but it's gonna require a little bit of patience. But if Litecoin's anything to go off of, this market's gonna go up. 31.99, so we could say $32. If we can even just tick above $32, don't even need to close above there. I would be looking for a move probably back up towards 33 and a quarter. Yeah, about 33 and a quarter. By the same token, lower time frames, if we see any sort of a 4-hour diddle close below about $30, I'd be looking for some pretty nasty downside towards, nasty as a relative term, 27.75 and 25.5 would be areas of interest. Zcash, what do we have on over here? Zcash a little bit looking a little bit more like Bitcoin, actually not really having the same sort of response as Litecoin. I would say if we do get some upwards momentum, target would be $84. However, this one's looking sluggish here. Any sort of a break below $78.50, and I'd be looking for a move back down here towards $73. Bcash, looks a lot like Bitcoin as well, in the way that it's kind of situated around these moving averages. I would get bearish on this one, looking for a pretty nasty leg down. If we can close a 4-hour diddle below about 380, I would be looking for a move probably back down to about 340-ish region. By the same token, if you can close, even like an hourly or 2 hour total above 405, 406, I would be looking for a move similar to Litecoin back up to about 430 and perhaps even beyond. Tron Cash, what's Tron Cash doing over here? Come on, Tron. A little bit slumpy actually. Needs to hold a 3.136 cent. Otherwise, problems below. Weekly looks okay though. I think it's putting a low here. I think most things are putting in a low, to be honest with you. Neo, same. Not as strong. Needs to hold the critical area is $11. $11 as long as that holds, okay. If $11 fails, then probably back down to 9.20. But for now, if it's gonna pull a Litecoin, probably works its way back up to 12.50. EOS, again, similar to Litecoin, or not similar to Litecoin just yet, but if we can break below $6, and yes, we can talk about targets in the mid fives. But for now, that actually looks to me like we probably have some bullish divergence coming off the lows. We do. I think this one wants to work its way higher. You know what? I think I might say right here, man. I would say that the lower time frames are actually looking bullish on most things, with Litecoin leading. XRP, same thing. Yeah, looks okay here. If we do break back down below 41 cents, then yes, we can talk about coming back down to 39 cents. But for now, give it the benefit of the doubt. It looks to me like it's actually being reaccumulated in this region, and probably does give a test a little bit higher, maybe towards 43.5 cents. Yeah, daily looks okay as well. If it came back down to 40.5 cents, I'd be a buyer there. Looks okay to me. Daily looks fine. Yeah, some of these things are looking bullish. This just looks like a flag getting ready to move towards 50 cent plus. Monero, okay. Again, same sort of thing here, but stuck below a few moving averages, so a little bit more difficult. I would only trade for downside if we broke below 84 bucks. Same thing with Bitcoin. I just don't think that there's a trade to the downside until you actually break officially 7600 on a 4 hour. Until that happens, it's it's not as likely of a trade. Stellar, what Stellar got? Stellar looks like it wants to kind of work its way up as well. Same sort of area here. Yeah, same sort of area here. They all look the fucking same, man. 12 cents. 12 cents breaks, and yeah, we can talk about a move back down to 11 and a quarter or 11 flat. But for now, it looks to me like it wants to test higher towards 13 cents, maybe even beyond. So yeah, I mean that's really what a lot of them are looking like. I mean, going over here in Bitcoin, let's just compare Bitcoin to Litecoin for a second. Is Litecoin going to take the reins on this market and kind of lead once again? I mean, it did do it basically out of the bottom so far. So possible, certainly possible. Looking at this right here, Litecoin looks good. Litecoin looks good, man. Litecoin looks good. Daily still coming down while price action is moving up. We see 12-hour already turning. We're going to see a 12-hour on Bitcoin turning as well. Going to be confirmed on the next tick if we can bring it up. Come on, baby. There we go. But again, just looking at that structure doesn't look all that inspiring. So again, I'll just kind of synthesize this down. I want to wrap this up now. I do have to get going myself, and basically, if we can see just even an hourly tick above 79.30, then yes, I do think that we work our way up to about 82.50, likely 81.50 to 82.50, probably 82.50. If Litecoin's anything to go off of, then we're actually gonna likely find our way much higher, back above the red 10 simple, which would be about 82.50 actually. So good confluences there. Like I said though, the second that you see a 4-hour total close below 7,600, I would be getting bearish, and I would be looking for targets much lower. 71 to 7,200 becomes the next major area of interest, and we'll talk about lower if and when we do get there. So that's gonna do it for right now. I do want to wish you all on this nice little freaky Friday, a fast Friday. I don't know if there's going to be a live stream later. I do have quite a few things to take care of today, so I'm not sure if actually time permits, but if it does, you'll see it up. And if I know a lot of people are sending me messages with questions right now. I'm trying my best to get back to them at like a reasonable time, but again, today is a little bit of a busy day for myself, so I do apologize if it's taking a little bit longer. I promise I will get back to you. It just sometimes things take a little bit of time to process. And of course, want to remind you before I leave you off, all of the programs are on sale for today. Anyways, with that said, been an absolute pleasure to be with you on this lovely Friday. Want to wish you well on this Friday, and take care.